All right, see that this is a live stream faux pas. I played the wrong video. So if you're watching this pre-game, I'm going to switch videos on you real quick and play this one.
What? 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 What?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Social Media Lab Live. I am Scott Ayers, the content scientist here at the Social Media Lab, where we bust the myths, the rumors, and the stories of social media marketing with science. I'm excited to be with you today. I'm playing around with a different, wavy, cool. I may even change it in the middle of the show. I'm playing with this cool animated background here on Restream, and so I have a squirrel brain quite a bit. So if it I look away, and that's just because I have squirrel brain. So we're gonna have some fun here today on today's show. And if you haven't checked out Restream, I do encourage you to go do that. You can run over to Restream Live. That's Restream, and I'm trying to type this into another channel so I can grab the link, restreamlive.com, and you can actually sign up for free. That's what I do all of my live shows with. I use their live studio. You can also use it if you want to use something like, let's say, OBS or a vMix or an Ecamm and just send it through RTMP. You can do that, but the live studio is what I'm using to do everything that you see here during my show today. So make sure you run over to restreamlive.com whenever you get a chance to do so. I also want to remind you that you can check out everything that I do on Agorapulse lab.com. is a quick link to get you over to the lab. I've run all kinds of different experiments. We just published a Twitter survey where we surveyed almost 800 people, asking them how they do Twitter marketing, how they do Twitter. Some really interesting results. And while all the people who responded may not have been 100% like Twitter marketers, we really dove into how just regular people use Twitter. So make sure you run over to agorapulselab.com, and you can kind of see what we've been doing here in the lab over the last couple of months. And I have 2 podcasts now for the lab. We've got a regular social media, lab podcast, which is about twice a month, maybe once lately, just based on our experiments. And then I've got a social media lab live podcast that is just the audio from my live interviews with all the experts. I've been doing these on solo for almost a year now since COVID started. I started doing it on my own. So I've been like pulling the audio and creating 1 or 2 podcasts per week, trying to catch up. So some really great interviews. So if you like the live show, you can go to socialmedialab.live and they'll take you straight over to the category on the social media lab. But you can watch or listen to those podcasts and subscribe to it. I've interviewed people like Dustin Stout, Owen Video, Brad Friedman, Doc Boyd, and of course I got my great guest today, David, who'll be on LIndgren. I forgot to ask him how to pronounce his name, and hopefully I got that right. LIndgren. He can correct me if I'm wrong here in just a few minutes. One thing I do want to remind you, if you're at agorapulselab.com, you should sign up for a free trial. There's a little button at the top right where you can sign up for a free trial of Agorapulse. If you haven't used Agorapulse yet, basically our whole goal is to help you be a better social media manager, whether you're an agency owner, whether you're, someone who's just running stuff on your own solo with multiple companies, or maybe a large company. We want to help you be better at social media. And one of the cool things that we've added here recently is the ability to publish Instagram stories. Check this out.
Agorapulse software includes Instagram story scheduling. Simply create your story as you usually would, but this time in advance. And the story can go live at a scheduled time within seconds. Sign up today to find out more.
Yeah, so make sure you go over to agorapulselab.com, sign up for the free trial that you'll see there, and get started with Agorapulse if you haven't yet. I want to real quick look. I see I've got the chat thing on right now, the chat overlay. I love the chat overlay feature. I'm here in Restream. I see Deb is talking. Deb is our social media manager. I see Daniel. Shout out to you. Been following David for a looping time. I don't know what a looping time means. Is that like metrics? Is that like something I don't understand because I'm in Texas and I don't understand that sort of timing? I would love to know what looping time means there. Deb Mitchell saying hi. Hi, guys. Appreciate you, Deb, and all the things that you do here for us at Agorapulse. I may or may not leave the chat on the entire time, but I do want to know, and I meant to ask this, and I'll leave it on for a minute as we get going. Like, I love a simple question of the day. Like, well, I like to ask questions of the day on all of my live shows. And if you go live, and some reason this one bulb back there went off on me, and I'm going to turn it back on because I like the little pattern interrupt behind me. What's your favorite ice cream? I love to know what your favorite ice cream flavor is. If you're doing live video, you got to, what did I say? As I say social media manager? Sorry, Deb. Deb is our community manager. Sorry about that if I said it wrong. My light went out, and I'm like, what's going on behind me? What's your favorite ice cream? If you do live video shows, and I do a couple of them, you want pattern interrupts, and you want to get people to engage. And so you want to do things that get people to pay attention to you, and you want to do things to get people to talk. And I love questions of the day. And sometimes it's yes, no. Sometimes it's about the subject, but sometimes it's just about ice cream. And Teresa, shout out to you, Teresa, because you just said mint chocolate chip, and you are after my own heart, because mint chocolate chip is my favorite ice cream. By far, I'm the only one in my house that eats mint chocolate chip. So if we do buy ice cream, which is very rare for me, is if we have mint chocolate chip, no one else in my house will eat it. And so mint chocolate chip is always what I definitely buy. Oh, Daniel meant long time, not looping. I was wondering what looping meant. I thought I was maybe off on some sort of verbiage or like, I'm not real hip. I'm turning 46 on Sunday. And so I'm like, well, maybe I'm not hip enough to know what the heck looping meant. He also said, Daniel says, just a simple tutti frutti ice cream. That sounds pretty good. Nutty coconut. Okay, Deb. I'm not into nutty. I'm for coconut. I can't do coconut. I don't know what it is. Some reason coconut and I just do not get along. For whatever reason. Like I've tried coconut many times over the years, and I just can't do coconut. It doesn't work for me. So anyway, just some little fun as we got started here. And so I want to bring on my guest. So if you see this, I'll pop the question up a few times, but if you got a favorite ice cream, feel free to put it in the comments and tell us what it is. Is it a Ben and Jerry's? Is it a Brahms? Is it whatever it is, wherever you're watching, whether it's on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. I'm live on Amazon right now. Amazon, I do see you. And I'm showing some products that I use during my live streaming here on Amazon as well. But I'm going to bring on my guest. His name is David, and he's out of Sweden. And we got David approached me and had some really cool ideas and things to talk about. And I'm like, I got to get this guy on because he told me he liked 100,000 Instagram posts. And as a data geek, I'm like, what in the world and why and how and all that good stuff. So let me bring David on real quick. There's David here. David, thanks for being on my goofy show, Social Media Lab Live.
Hi, Scott. Thanks for having me. It's nice to be here.
It's good to have you on, man. Now, is LIndgren? Did I say that right?
Yeah, I would say so. That's the international way of saying it.
I mean, if I'm wrong, I mean, my last name is always, Ayres. I get Aries, I get R's, I get all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's never correct. But if somebody doesn't know who you are, David, give us your 30 to 60 second elevator pitch. Like, why should I listen to you, today and on Social Media Lab Live?
Yeah, so I'm a freelancing videographer from Sweden, and I just love to create things, try to grow my YouTube channel so that I can hopefully at one point live completely off of that and just create the things that I like to do. I like to create things that helps other people or inspire them. And I haven't really had I'm the type of person who's not talented in something, but if I want to do something, I'm like, okay, how should I do that? And then I kind of break it down into what do I need to do every day, and then just try to put in the hours to get there. So it's a lot of learning by doing, and I'm trying to be transparent and share the process of what I'm going through, what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong. I made a year in review video recently where I shared a lot of mistakes, like when I was crashing the drone and when I lost the GoPro in the ocean. And so I just try to be honest and do the mistakes and show the results so people can hopefully learn both the good and bad from that.
Yeah, I'm going to post the link. I'll do it now. I was going to do it at the end of the show, but you mentioned it just now. David, I'm looking over the other screen here, so excuse me while I look over at the other screen. And Deb may have already beat me to it, but I'll make sure it gets on all the channels here. David's got this great year in review video on his YouTube channel. When you lost a drone, I'm like, oh. I don't own a drone because that's the fear. Is my wife and I were talking about it the other day. I'm like, I need to get a drone. I have a friend who got one, and he's like, it'll fly 5 miles away. I'm like, I would lose it. It would crash, and then it's lost. So I'm sure that was a devastating day.
Yeah, and it's also such big cost for something that you just put up in the air, out of reach, and you're like, oh, I don't really want to fly this because I know how much it costs to crash it.
Right, yeah. So, and it was funny. My friend was telling me his when he takes it off, it actually tells him, it registers it with the F here in Texas anyway, with the FAA, so they know he's flying, and it tells him if there's other aircraft in the area. And I'm like, dude, that's insane. Because that's scary at the same time. You might actually run into a plane, or something like that. So, what is your main job? What is the main thing that you do right now other than create these amazing videos and content?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so I've been freelancing since 1.5 years back, and I've been doing a lot of different things when it comes to videos, both like filming interviews and events and product videos. And recently I've started focusing more on the editing part because I feel like that's what I'm the best at, and that's what I want to focus on also. So it's a lot of editing. I also do some consulting for YouTube on like how to get started and how to like get into the process of finding a schedule where you can actually get the videos created and published continuously. We're probably gonna talk more about processes later on, but it's something that I feel like a lot of people who wants to start a YouTube channel, they see it as a project and they put in a lot of time for a couple of months, but they don't think about how to make it sustainable and how to actually plan more long term. So that's something that I do. So that's basically the two main things. And with the editing, I do a lot of editing for like social media and pretty much marketing videos. So any kind of like companies who wants to grow their organic reach, I'm trying to create like micro content for them.
Very cool. So I want to jump into this idea here of this. You liked 100,000 Instagram posts. So before we get into like what happened, like why did you decide to, okay, one day I'm going to sit on my phone for the next like week or two or all that? I don't know how long it took, but why did you decide to go in and like 100,000 Instagram posts? Like, what was your motivation to do that?
Yeah, it's a long story, but I'll try to keep it short. But just to start off with, to give some context to it, the reason I started focusing on my social media channels was because a couple of years ago I heard about this guy called Gary Vaynerchuk, and I think a lot of people who's active on social media has probably heard his name. And like his mindset of social media and how you can build your personal brand and how you have this opportunity to get so much reach without paying anything, and how you can turn that into something profitable, or like you can new opportunities can open up thanks to this, and you didn't have these opportunities like 20 years ago when it was more about being extroverted and networking and going to events to build some kind of reach. But now you can basically if you have a phone and if you have internet, you can reach a lot of people just by that. So that was kind of the reason why I decided to focus more on my social media channels. I had a couple of years back, I only had like 300 Instagram followers, maybe in 300 like contacts on LinkedIn. There was some different platforms I decided to focus on. And instead of like, okay, I'm just gonna post what I'm doing and like document my days for the people I know, it was more like, okay, how can I provide value to people to grow my network, and how can I reach out to people that I don't know right now? So I basically set a goal for myself, like what I wanted to reach in terms of like followers and subscribers and stuff. And then I was just liking, commenting, and posting, and I was like writing that down in Excel sheets to just have some kind of data to figure out like, okay, how much do I need to engage in social media each week to be able to reach this goal? And then I kind of just broke it down into like, okay, this is the goal, and then I divide that in like 12 months, and then divide that into like 30 days. So then like at the end, I figured out that I needed to post do one post per day on Instagram, one comment, and 240 likes, I think it was. So it wasn't like a short thing.
Right.
It was more, this was like a 2-year period, I think.
Oh wow. So it took that long to do all that?
Yeah, so
Okay.
I basically like divided it, so I just liked 100 posts on the way to work and 100 posts on the way home and some during lunch.
So like, I mean, did you like count it? Like 1, 2, 3. I mean, how did
Yeah.
you?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, people might think that it's some kind of program or system that I used, but it
Right.
was actually manually
All manual.
liking, and just writing it down. Okay, how many did I like today? And then just calculating that. I think it's almost 110,000 now at this point. But
Oh wow. So were these accounts like within a certain niche similar to yours? Like what was the motivate? Like what was your
yeah,
parameters to ensure like because you wouldn't even go like a bunch of posts that
Mm.
had nothing to do with you. So like
yeah,
what
yeah.
was how did you find the right post to like and hope
Mm.
in hopes of and I'll ask you in a second like what was your hope, but how did you
Mm.
find those accounts and what were they related to?
Yeah, that's a good question, because it's a big difference if you just go and like random posts or if you do it intentionally. So what I did was, in the beginning, I think I went to top posts around hashtags that was in my niche. So hashtags around video editing or filmmaking or vlogging or stuff like that. And then I was started with the top posts and liking there, because they had a lot of reach. But then after some time, I realized that if I go to recent posts, then I could be one of the first people to like a post, and then they were more likely to see my name and actually go to my account and maybe follow me. So I took like one hashtag, went to recent posts and liked maybe 10, 15 in that hashtag. And then I switched to another similar hashtag and went to the recent post and liked 10, 15 there. So I did that with like, 10, 20 different hashtags each day. And then I tried to mix it up a little bit, but it was always something around video and like video editing, social media marketing, like the area where I wanted to kind of grow my reach in. Um, yeah.
Now did you that's that sounds hard. Like I do a lot of weird data. I mean, I've
Yeah.
done that. I've done some challenges in the past where like, here's how you get 1,000 followers in 30 days,
Mm.
sort of deal. And a lot of it was a liking, commenting, and being
Mm.
in pods or whatever. But I think
Yeah.
just the sticking to that, because if you're doing it manually, especially, and I know this
Mm.
from just from my experience, like manually is so daunting. You don't realize like how
Mm.
long it takes to
Yeah.
really find, because you can like a lot of random stuff, but
Yeah.
to engage, like, was your hope of like, okay, if I go like a bunch of photos from or videos from a similar creator, was your hope that they would come back and follow you? Was it like your main hope?
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to. It was like different things. So one of them was just to grow my personal brand and get
Right.
people to know about me and what I do, and then maybe like further down the road, someone would turn into a client, or I would like connect with someone and maybe do a collaboration with that person or invite to a live episode. So it was basically mainly to just grow my reach, and it wasn't like specified what I wanted to do with that
Right.
reach, but so that was like the purpose. And I tried to focus on the comments first, and anyone who wants to grow on Instagram, I would recommend that more, actually, because then you actually build like a deeper
Mm,
connection to a person and you can say something specific.
right.
And what I noticed for me was that I was focusing on so many different social media channels and also trying to grow my YouTube channel. So that it took a lot of like mental effort to come up with a unique comment every time, because I don't want to just go and spam people.
Yeah.
So for me, I figured that, okay, this is like my 10-minute break. I'm just gonna go and like and not like turn off my brain, kind of.
Yeah.
But you start to recognize some types of videos that you like. So you sometimes you just stop for a couple of seconds and like, oh, it's that type of video, I like that. So sometimes you don't really watch it through even. But
yeah. But what I'm hearing though is you were very intentional on a couple of things. One, making sure that the engagement you gave to other people, which is your social equity. I mean, when we like something or we comment on something, we are endorsing it, if you will. I mean, we are saying, I trust this person enough to push a button and like it. Add a comment is even bigger. I mean, sharing it's even further. But you made sure it was within your niche for the most part. Are people similar to you? But you went in and added, specific comments about that video or about that post. And I think if anybody's watching this is or listening later to the podcast, this is the important part here. Is a lot of people will use, and I've used them too because I've tested all the the tools out there that do this on an automated level. And they'll do it for you, but it's such garbage at the end of the day. It's like, hey, I loved your post. It's nothing genuine. There's nothing specific. So if you can go through and say, all right, and maybe 100 is too much, but for most, maybe you go, I'm gonna do 5 today or something. But you go and say, hey, I love the angle of that video that you just posted. I love your, whatever it is about the content, and gives, it sounds like that's what you were doing, is giving specific feedback to other people. And that's going to make them go, hey, this guy, David, he's actually watching my stuff. He's looking at my photos. I'm going to follow him. And then that's for you as a marketer, as a, as a business person, as a creator, they're going to be more apt to follow you and then recommend you later on. And it's all about that social equity that you're putting out there. And that's exactly what, I've been talking about for a long time, is be genuine, on social media. So what I love about even though like the number of 100,000 is like this stupid, massive number, but it's genuine. It's not automated. It's not a bot. It's not
exactly.
You aren't like just turn on a program, because there are programs that do it. You and I both know that.
Yeah, probably.
I've used some of them to play it around with. And I regretted it later. Like I have my personal Instagram account. I has a lot of followers that were gained through bots, and they're garbage. And I wish I could delete them all. I probably could. I just haven't gone through and done it. But the genuineness of it keeps those people around, and they want to see your content later on. And I think that's really super important. So I think that covers the why you did it. You wanted to be genuine. You wanted to hope to grow your account. You said you were a couple hundred followers when you started it. And so after you did all this, or like maybe halfway through, what did you start to see, and what happened to your account during this process?
So, I mean, I wish I could say that I grew my channel to like 50,000 followers or something, and like now I make money on Instagram. But I think I'm at 2,000 something followers. But what I really noticed was people, like I got in contact with a lot of like-minded people that I wouldn't have done otherwise. And some of them actually turn into like paying clients at some point. And so it's like a lot of those things that you can't really measure in numbers. But I feel like for example, when I was starting to freelance 1.5 years back, I was hired before that as a video editor. And I was thinking, oh, now when I'm freelancing, I need to like do all these cold calls, and I need to be extrovert, and I need to really reach out to people. But that's when like all the marketing effort that I did the previous years was actually really paying off, and people started contacting me instead. And I actually haven't done like a single cold call since I started, because I've always had work coming in. So I feel like that's one like really good result of just trying to provide value and trying to be active on social. Yeah, I would say that's probably the biggest like result that you can kind of measure in some way.
Yeah. So do you know any sort of like direct follower growth? Are you able to figure that out at all?
Do you mean how much I grew from?
Yeah, like you started like 300. Did you grow? Were you able to see like, okay, I liked posts from this many different accounts and they all follow me back, or something like that?
It was hard to see specific, but I
Okay.
know I grew from 300 something to 2,000,
Yeah.
and then in the to the beginning of this year, and then I started focusing more on YouTube. So and I stopped liking completely since January, and then I've actually lost 50 followers. So that's also an interesting thing that I've noticed, that like if you spend the same amount of time on YouTube and like the same frequency, then you
Interesting.
can grow exponentially there. But while on Instagram, as soon as you stop being active and stop posting, then it kind of dies off pretty quickly.
I wonder
But
why
it also,
yeah,
yeah.
I guess I mean, that's a good correlation. That's a good point to make too. Like if you stop being active on any account,
Mm,
people notice that,
yeah.
and you're gonna start, to suffer
Mm,
from it. I'm gonna show your account real quick over here on Instagram. And so you're at 1,946 followers. Now I got
yeah.
a question for you because I noticed this
Mm,
on your account. I didn't
yeah.
ask David about this beforehand, by the way. So this is going to catch you off guard, maybe.
Yeah.
Is you have goal to do weekly V for Gary V,
Mm,
and my journey is Project Vayner. So what's the
yeah.
deal with that? Like, you want to work for Gary V? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Do
So
you have a connection with him at all?
yeah, I mean, I've not him like personally. I met
Okay.
him once in Stockholm, and after that, that was kind of the like the last step into me deciding that okay, I want to work for this guy, and that was also really affecting the decision of growing my social media channels,
Okay.
because I know that the company VaynerMedia, they focus a lot on social media, and I thought one of the things that I really need to prove is that I know about this and that I can grow my own channel. So that was like one of the things that I tried to achieve and tried to kind of prove for them, just by trying to grow organically myself.
Okay.
So that's been something like that. Project Vayner vlog has been something I've done for, I think it's 3 years now.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's been taken different like ways that I didn't really expect, because it started with me like setting a goal that I wanted to work for Gary, because a lot of different reasons, because I've always been interested in working in New York for the
Right.
first, and then Gary's a very inspiring person who is very like honest and like transparent, and he just has a lot of knowledge and experience. And also like the team around him in Team Gary V is like a lot of inspiring and creative people, and I thought it would be amazing to be part of that team and learn from them and just post continuously and get that much data from each post, so you
Right.
can actually analyze and see what works and what doesn't, and kind of learn from that. But like during this journey of trying to reach that goal, I've done a lot of live episodes with different guests
Hmm.
and kind of connected to them. And there's like one funny story actually of a guy who saw that text in my bio and reached out to me, a guy I never met before, and he said that something like, it sounds inspiring and we should do a collaboration together. And then like a couple of weeks later, he lives in Denver, so a couple of weeks later I was flying from Stockholm to Denver,
Oh, wow.
spending the weekend at his place, and then I was just following him and filming him, and then created some content from that. So kind of like how D-Rock is doing with Gary V.
Mm.
So and that was just something I did for free, just because I wanted to learn and connect with people and see what I can do, and also kind of have something specific to show to Gary and VaynerMedia. And yeah, it was just a fun experience, and funny how he kind of came from nowhere just because I had that line in my bio, and then couple of weeks later, I was actually at his place filming. So,
Which one is colder, Stockholm or Denver?
I think Stockholm is colder. At least at that point when I was there.
Yeah, probably.
It was
I
good
love some of
weekend.
these videos. Like I've been showing your videos as you're talking. Like
Yeah.
you built like an igloo. I mean,
Yeah.
this is you're like you built an igloo because why not? Like
Exactly.
yeah, that's something we can do here in Texas
Yeah.
very often. But that seems like a fun thing to definitely do. But yeah, I love that mindset of like here's my I'm scanning through your Instagram channel just to kind of show people what the content you do. But your whole goal is to, like, it sounds like to me is like, and even like here, this one here says, what is Project Vayner? Like you're calling out like, hey, I want to work for you, dude. And like putting it out there. And I think there's some interesting take on that of putting yourself out there enough to get people to want to work with you. Like this person in Denver saw your work and said, hey, come out, do some stuff. And maybe you made some money on it. Maybe you didn't. I won't ask what the details were there, but there's some value in that of putting yourself out there and setting a goal. And, you know, for you, I mean, who knows? I mean, it may take you years to work for Gary Vaynerchuk. Who knows? But what a cool story would it be? Like at the end of the day, you know, if we fast forward a year from now, whenever COVID is kind of completely, you know, out of most of our minds and we can travel and all that sort of stuff of, you know, to see David hanging out with Gary at an event. I mean, I'd be so excited about that.
Yeah, me too.
and I've had some paths cross with Gary over the years. And so I would like I even put in the comments, like someone tag Gary, like we need to tag Gary like crazy. And I'll do it after the show as well. Like it'd be fun to see if like, can we get David connected to Gary Vaynerchuk?
Yeah, that would be amazing.
And it's like the whole, you know, there's this whole idea of 6 degrees of separation. And I think that's so true. Like everybody knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. I think it's less than 6 these days. I think with social media, it's like you are 2 or 3 people away from anybody at this point in time. And so I think that it's such an interesting goal and journey that you've been on and created. So any other like data or things that you would say that happened because of your activity of liking 100 Instagram posts?
No, I think when it comes to data, that's probably the thing that I can measure, like the follower growth, which wasn't that massive, maybe as if I would have focused more on comments, maybe, and posting more.
Okay.
But just these new connections, I would say.
Yeah, and I like that idea. Like, you know, likes are one thing, but comments do stand out more. I know for me, when I open up Instagram, which is not as often lately, I'll see the likes, but I really kind of, you know, I go through them real quick. But if somebody comments on, you know, a post, I take notice more. So that could be like a new challenge. Like, could you figure out like how long it would take you to do 100,000 Instagram comments?
Yeah, that would take some time.
That would be a lot. I mean, especially if you're doing it manually, and there's really not any apps that will do that. I don't believe, not well anyway. But that would be interesting. Like, you know, I'm thinking out loud here. Like, okay, I'm wondering now, like, if I go, you're challenging me. This is what this is how I work. Like, I'm thinking out loud right now. Like, I ought to go and set a goal with my main Instagram account of liking 100,000 posts, and how, you know, the keeping up with that would be weird and figure out. But, and then like maybe keep up with who I liked, when I liked it, did they follow me, and then comments, did the comments get me more than liking? Yeah, you've created a really monster test for me to
I did a quick calculation actually. If you want to reach it within 2 years, you have to do 142 comments per day, roughly. And then you need to come up with what to say in each comment, and maybe they reply, and then you reply to that. So it's a lot of engagement.
Yeah, the good thing is you can, and I'm a desktop guy more than anything, but you can add comments and like from desktop now. So you can do some of that on desktop a little bit quicker than your phone. So maybe I'll do like a scaled down version of it.
Mm.
What
Yeah.
happens if I like 1,000 posts
Yeah.
and see what those results? Because I don't want to commit 2 years to this.
Yeah, I get that.
But 2 months might be a better aspect.
Mm.
So I want to do a few things. I want to shift gears a little bit,
Mm.
and I want to talk about, wrong one. I keep pushing the wrong button there. Like, you want to talk about YouTube because you've moved over and mentioned your focus is on YouTube. I even changed the background now
Yeah,
as we're talking. So, and of course, it would have helped if I'd pushed the right caption there as I did that. I'll say we edit it out, but we won't. But like, you're focusing a lot on YouTube, and if I look at your YouTube channel, and I posted it earlier, and I'll post it again, you're at like about 2.5 thousand subscribers right now, and your title on your Instagram account is a content creator's journey. It is so. I'm curious, like, how are you focusing on growing your YouTube channel now, and probably in light of, in fact, this Instagram journey you went through?
Yeah, so like my focus on the YouTube channel comes to trying to create a kind of lifestyle around that. So like finding a way to work with a channel that I know that I can do week after week, and like keeping that consistency. So it's something that I've been really like working on and tweaking for the last 2 years, I would say. And just to like encourage people to do that, also I started my channel back in 2012, I think it was. So it's like, what's that, 9 years ago. First 6 years I didn't really post that much. It was like random videos here and there. And then 3 years back I started to actually post regularly. I tried to do it weekly. And then after doing that for 2 years, I was at maybe 600 subscribers, and that was last year. So from last year to now, I went from 600 to 2,500. And I think a lot of that just comes from having that consistency over time and actually publishing every week, and like having a very defined process for doing that, which makes it easy for me to just plan in the schedule. Okay, on Friday, I'm going to record a video. Or maybe a couple of videos, and then edit those on Saturday. And then I know exactly how much time it takes. So there's no risk that I won't have time to do it, because I know exactly how much time I need to set off in the calendar. And then because I'm a freelancer, I have the ability to actually plan my client work around that. So that's been like a transition phase from the start. But now I've kind of reached that point where I have like the YouTube channel as my number one priority, and then the rest of the time that I kind of divide into different client work. So then I make sure I always publish something. I always see, is there another place I can share a video on? Is there another way I can like write the caption, or can I improve the process to make it even more effective? Maybe have gear set up so I don't need to take it down and set it up all the time. Maybe have like different templates for things that I do regularly in the videos. So always trying to like streamline the process, and everything I learn is also something that I could share in the videos and kind of teach to the people who follows me, because I'm always trying to like document what's happening. So it's both like tutorials, but also vlogs and different live episodes where I just talk about sharing my experience of growing the channel. So yeah, it's kind of like a little bit like a diary in a way, but also, yeah.
So you said you've grown from a few hundred followers or subscribers, I guess we should say, on YouTube to 2,500. What sort of time period?
That was from February last year to now it's May this year, so a little over a year.
I mean, I'm in a lot of creator channels on Facebook and elsewhere, and 1,000. It's hard to grow 500. It's hard to grow 50, but to grow from a few hundred to 2,500 is a huge deal on today's YouTube. I mean, you rewind 5 years ago, it was a little bit easier, just like Facebook 10 years ago was really simple. It's hard to get subscribers on YouTube these days because you have so many apps that don't even allow you to subscribe. Like my kid, my 10-year-old boy, like he watches YouTube like every day and way too much, but he's watching on our Amazon Fire TV. And so he's just searching and he's following like Rage Elixir and a few of these gamers and stuff. Kindly Keenan. I know all their names because I watch all their videos, but there's no option to subscribe. So it's harder now. My point was it's harder to subscribe now and get subscribers on YouTube. I see that from everybody. So to grow by 2,000 in like a year is pretty spectacular. And looking at your YouTube account here, like it looks like most of your videos are kind of geeky. I mean, it's a lot of After Effects. Like you're a ton of After Effects, which I wish I knew. And so now I know where to go to learn it. But a lot of like really like how to, like I'm looking at your titles, how to change names on layers, how to create typing text animation, how to center align text in After Effects. So you're focusing on, from what I'm seeing here, just as a quick glance, like really on that search mind that's like, I'm stuck, you need to figure out how to do something. I'm going to search real quick how to do this, and that's where you're going to get most of your views from, I would assume.
I mean,
type of user.
I focus a lot on who I was 5-10 years ago, and I try to figure out like, okay, for video creators who's just starting out, maybe they get stuck on certain things. Instead of doing like a 15-minute tutorial going into depth about it, maybe they just have problems with exporting. Then I do like a 1-minute tutorial showing this is what you can do when you can't export, or like how do I sync the audio, why is it out of sync. Then I do a 1-minute tutorial on that. So it's very short and very specific. So I would say the tutorials, the purpose of those is just to give like a quick tip and also increase the reach, because they are very searchable and you can be very specific with the tags and the titles and everything. And then with the vlogs and the live episodes, it's kind of more broad.
I noticed like most of these are like, I mean, which now of course, you know, YouTube Shorts is the new thing. But I mean, these are short, for as far as YouTube videos are concerned, these are short tutorials, like 54 seconds, 2 minutes, 25 seconds, 2 minutes. Which for you lets you repurpose them wherever you want. Me, like I see you've interviewed my friend Rob Balasabas twice.
We had some audio issues first time.
Okay. Rob over at TubeBuddy. I love Rob. He's such a good guy.
He's a great guy.
I've had him on this show and my other show. And I talk to him, you know, quite a bit throughout the week. But what I see here and where I think, and I'm gonna pull this back off the screen so I don't lose it, is I still think, and I've been a big advocate of this, is YouTube. There's two kinds of users on YouTube. There's those who hop on and, you know, they follow a creator and watch all their entertaining videos. They're there for entertainment. Like I mentioned, my son, he's 10 years old. He watches all these creators. There's like, I can name all of them because every morning he's watching them before he gets ready for school. And I get into them too. And I've started to get into some gaming with him because of it. But he watches those for entertainment. But then there's those people like me personally, who I go to YouTube to go, how do I do this? And that's where your videos and your channel is really coming to play. And you've grown by 2,000 subscribers in about a year's time. And so that plays into my thought for all along, because there's been this argument in YouTube creators communities about, you know, SEO versus like thumbnails and, you know, intent, you know, just entertainment. There's a lot of people like me who just search for, how do I change the fan belt on my 2002 Suburban? And so there's a lot of that. And so I think there's content to still create that's how to. And so I love that you focus on the how to. Now the thumbnails are kind of interesting because they're very specific to that product. So if you knew After Effects logo, you know what all this means, and those really stand out. So I love the concept here. I love that. You know, you're using how to in quick videos. I mean, most time I'll hop over to YouTube and it's like a 15-minute long video, and I've got to fast forward through half of it. And you've got about 3 nanoseconds to get my. I saw a video the other day. Actually, said you had 13 microseconds on any videos, which I don't know what a microsecond even means now. But 13 microseconds to draw my attention. Now I'm either going to watch or I'm going to pass. And so I think keeping it short and sweet, on a lot of these videos this day and age is so smart, and works so well. So, I mean, any other tips that you would give us before moving to the last thing, which was just for fun here in a second? While I've been doing this the whole show, and I told David this before we went live. So I even told my team at Agorapulse today, I'm like, for some reason today, I have sugar ants all over my office. And when I turned on my studio lights, this is funny, David. They were bad this morning when the day started. I haven't been in my office in 3 days. I don't have any food in here. I haven't eaten at my desk in days. No drinks, no nothing. I do have the tea I brought in this morning from Sonic. The sugar ants are crazy today. And when I turn the lights on, they are like, woof. They're drawn in right now. And like they're crawling all over my MacBook and all over anything with heat. So like my dongles, which is what I call my hub, my USB hub, like they're all over those right now. And it's like the weirdest thing. So anyway, so anything else you would add, like any other tips to grow? I mean, if I could grow my YouTube channel by 2,000 subscribers in a year, I would be stoked. Like any other like tips you would give somebody? Should we go comment on other people's posts on YouTube? Have you tried that yet?
Yeah, I mean, like first what you said about creating short videos, I think that's really powerful, because that's something that's very valuable for any person. Like if they can save time and learn the same thing in a shorter amount of time, that's even better. And I mean, I even had people commented on my videos saying like, "Oh, the video actually starts 13 seconds in." So I'm like, seriously, it's a 1 minute video. I think you have time. But but I think as YouTube has been growing so much, and how it is like the second biggest search engine, and people are typing much more specific search phrases now than a couple of years ago, I think you can really go like nerdy into topics and into niches. It wasn't like it was before, where it's like how to get better at video. Now it's like how to get better at editing in Final Cut Pro X13 with this camera, or it's like it's super specific lines. So if you can find something that is not oversaturated, that has a lot of reach but not, or a high search volume but not a lot of competition, then you have a big chance of getting a lot of reach on that video. So that's a tip that I would say everyone who wants to grow a channel, even if it's a really small one, and you think that, oh, but I need to have like a big channel already to be able to actually reach someone. But you just need to find those topics that you can make a good video about that no one else can make, haven't made a video on, or you can find a different angle on it that no one else have done. So just finding your like unique touch to it.
Right. And I think that's so true. Like, you know, we're at this point in time in 2021. I mean, there's no new ideas for the most part. Everything's been covered for the most part. There's going to be some new technologies, of course, that come on. But when it comes to YouTube, I mean, just because somebody else, like, let's say you're somebody who wants to talk about After Effects, just like David is, you have your own audience, you have your own flair, you have your own style, your own thumbnails. You go for it. Doesn't mean, oh, well, you know, this guy's getting all these views, I shouldn't do it. No, you don't know. And so you got to put your own flair to everything that you do, and be creative at it. And I think that's where I think people get stuck a lot. I see that a lot of times where I'm gonna and I'm live on Amazon right now, playing around with Amazon Live lately, as we talk. But there's a lot of people in this Amazon Live creator group are like, oh, I'm waiting to go live, I'm trying to figure out my angle. I'm like, just push the button, just go live. There's people who are just going to love your aspect and your viewpoint. of things, and that's okay. You're going to be different. You're not going to be perfect. But there's going to be people who like it. Like I'm in the middle of trying to get my above ground pool ready for the summer. And so I get in a mode where like I'm Googling and searching on YouTube for how to do this, how to do that.
Yeah.
Some people I'm like, I nod off like halfway through their videos, but somebody who's like telling me like it is quick, easy, give it to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll watch those videos all day long, and they're not always perfect. They're usually just a dad like me with his camera, his phone, and he's just filming. Hey, here's what I did on my pool today, you know, and I'll watch that. And so I think as YouTube, so if you want to grow, just create good titles, create good thumbnails, and create content people are searching for.
Yeah.
And that's going to help you, start to grow down the line and be active on YouTube too. I think you do have to, be on some live streams, commenting.
Yeah.
Be in some, chat. Like you're going after Gary Vaynerchuk. So I would assume, David, that you're commenting on Gary Vaynerchuk's live, videos on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely.
I assume you are. I didn't ask you, but I assume you are, because that makes sense, because those are his videos and you want to be in front of him as much as you can. So, I mean, anybody you want to be like, I think you want to be out there, and if you want them to follow you, you've got to be engaged with them. I know, and then we'll get on our next thing here right before you have to go, but like the first job I ever got in social media marketing was over 10 years ago. And I was just a major fan of the company. And I talked about it all the time. I did videos about it all the time. I just, I loved it, and I figured it out, and I taught other people how to do it. And then at some point he reached out to me, David Foster, and said, hey, you talk about us more than we do. You know more than we do about our own company. Will you come work for me? And I went, people do that? And so the rest is history. And like 10, 11 years later, I've been in social media marketing only, and it worked in a couple of app companies. So you just never know where those connections happen.
Yeah, exactly.
And I really hope, David, like your Gary Vaynerchuk stalking, pays off at some point, and somebody on Gary's team reaches out to you and says, hey, David, come make a video for us. Or maybe this is a thought, maybe you start making Gary Vaynerchuk videos, highlighting what he's doing, and it kind of catches attention. That could be another way to do that for sure.
Yeah.
So I want to switch over real quick while I got you for a few more minutes, and while I try to kill more ants that are in front of me. And I want to move over to a fun section called 5 Questions. And I like to turn on some trivia music, and hopefully that's not too loud. As we get a little fun little trivia. I don't think of 5 questions. You can go over to poddexlab.com. Poddex has these little cool decks of cards, and they also have a mobile app on Android or iOS that gives you ideas for interviews on podcasts, gives you even show ideas, episode ideas, topic ideas, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I like to have fun with my guests in my show. So you have 2 choices here, David. You can answer questions from the interview deck, which are kind of open-ended questions where you're going to have to kind of think of the answer. And I accidentally pushed my mouse there. Or you could do would you rather questions, which are like this or that sort of questions, a little quicker answers. So which one would you rather do? This is a would you rather question here.
Yeah. I think the first one sounded interesting.
All right, let's do these. All right, so it's
That's
just 5
even more
questions.
challenging for me.
It is. 5 questions with David LIndgren. And I didn't look at these beforehand. Now, if there's one that's inappropriate, I'm not going to ask you, but let's just see. First question.
All right.
If you could ask one person one question and they had to answer truthfully, who and what would you ask?
I would ask Gary Vaynerchuk, what do I need to do to get hired?
There you go. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, that's the answer I would expect. All right,
I have the answer.
There you go. Then it's solved. The problem is solved.
Yeah, exactly.
At this point. All right, question 2 with David LIndgren. 5 questions. What is the trait you most deplore about yourself?
What does deplore mean? Is it what I do?
No, dislike.
Okay.
Dislike.
I think
your significant other could probably answer us better than you.
Yeah, probably. I mean, she would probably say that I'm too nerdy to certain things. I would say maybe like, I don't know. Sometimes I double check or like triple check things. I'm like,
Right.
I just want to make sure, like a third time or a fourth time, if I actually did this. I did it later today. I was just checking the car if it was locked like 4 times. My girlfriend was like, "Yeah, it's locked. You don't have to check again." Okay.
I relate to that big time. I'm the type that like I will send a text message or an email or a Slack message and read it like 15 times.
Yeah.
Before I send it, and then after I send it, I read it again. I'm like, did that make sense? I don't know. Yeah.
That's me with emails also. Same thing.
I totally feel you. All right. Question 3 of 5 questions with David Lindgren. Which band or artist, dead or alive, would play at your funeral?
Ooh. Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, it's a special day, so it can't be any band either. I mean, because I'm a Swede, I would have to say Abba.
Oh, well, there you go. Funny. I was watching a live show earlier and someone mentioned Abba. So I was like, actually, I take it back. It was on our team meeting. A new employee came on and Abba was like one of their favorite bands. So yeah, totally know who that is. As a Texan, I even know who that is. So that would work perfect. All right. Question 4, 5 questions with David Lindgren. What's the favorite thing you've bought this year?
Ooh. Bought a couple of different things. One thing that I think of now on the spot is the teleprompter. I've just tried it a couple of times, but that's a game changer for someone who's have a hard time maybe typing or speaking in front of the camera. If you just have a script that's just rolling and you can just pause it, speed up, slow down, so you can just like bulk produce videos, like a couple of videos per day, because you just have the script rolling. That's really helpful.
I haven't tried one yet. I have a lot of people keep telling me I need to, but I think I would, I have squirrel brain, of course, so I'd be like looking around. I'd be too focused on that thing. Oh, I missed. Yeah. But yeah, that's a good idea. All right, last question. Question 5. 5 questions with David Lindgren. What is your most treasured possession?
Oh, so something that I have.
Other than the drone that fell into the ocean or wherever.
Yeah. This is a boring answer, but I would probably say my hard drives.
Okay.
Because I have all the content there.
Yeah.
And I mean, all the time I put into assembling, gathering all of that, that would be a sad moment if I would lose those.
Totally makes sense. Well, David, I appreciate you letting me ask you all these random questions and
no problem.
Talk about your journey of liking 100,000 Instagram posts. I've posted in the comments where you can go like David and follow him. Is there anywhere else that we should send you to other than Instagram or YouTube?
No, and if someone is active on any other platform, I have the same handle on basically every platform. So David Lindgren 89.
So is 89 your birth year?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're
a baby. You're a baby, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Feel old.
The name is just too common, so I just needed to put something afterwards to, find your own unique account name. So 89.
Yeah. I don't want to put 75 after all of mine.
Maybe I'll change it when I get older. Who knows?
Yeah, as you get older, you're like, wait a minute, I'm getting close to 50. I don't want people to know that. Well, David, I appreciate you being on this week's episode of Social Media Lab Live. And if I can help you with doing anything in the future, I appreciate it. Y'all make sure you like Bomb, go follow, go like and comment on all of David's posts.
Thanks, man.
Follow his lead.
And ask questions if anyone is wondering anything.
Very cool. All right. Appreciate you, David.
Yeah. Thanks. It was nice being here.
All right. That's going to do it for this week's episode of the Social Media Lab. Don't forget, you can run over to agorapulselab.com and see all the things that I'm doing here in the Social Media Lab. I'll be back next week with, and I'm going to say this name wrong too, Ayana King. And we're going to talk from Maximum Communications, and we're going to talk about diversity, equity in the industry and how to kind of be inclusive within your industry. So don't forget to follow us and watch us next week. I appreciate all of you watching. We'll see you later.